Great. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for welcoming me here in Orlando. Just a little bit skipping a hop from Ocala, so I'll get started here. So, Vital Engine is a medical software company, and I am a territory manager. We're a startup of about 25 people, and our mission is to communicate more effectively, collaborate more efficiently, and to accelerate quality patient care. And ultimately, minimize.
Sure.
And ultimately, our goal is to improve lives, making healthcare collaboration real. So there's a lot on the screen here. I don't have time to cover each one of our different features. I like to compare us as like the Microsoft Office of the medical technology world. But most specifically, what we hone in on is collaboration. So basically, what does collaboration mean? We're involved in a lot of different cardiology practices because with subspecialists, those procedures can be really complex. Our software really helps the communication from a specialist to a subspecialist and just really easing that process. So this is typically what it looks like without Vital Engine. As you can see, there's a lot of steps here. I don't need to go into every single one, but there's transferring of paper faxes, CDs, phone calls, a lot of phone typing delayed back and forth. Ultimately, a patient from being seen from point A to point B with this current workflow can take around 2 weeks. With Vital Engine, we take all these steps, put it into one sort of page on our collaboration software. Oh, I apologize for the formatting. It kind of got messed up on the online download there. But ultimately, we solve that and we make that much more quicker from this complex process. This map just illustrates the divide that currently exists between a lot of different healthcare facilities because it's hard to communicate effectively when they have different technologies with EMRs and imaging systems as well. Bottom left here represents the founder of my company, Dr. Johnson. He is a biomedical engineer as well as a interventional cardiologist. He designed the software because of his own frustrations with it. So one of our favorite mottos I like to say is it's designed by doctors for doctors, which I think is really important. So ultimately, so what's really unique, and I always love to point out this slide, is that I was really surprised when I first jumped in my role in the medical industry because of the most important things which goes on in the operating room, which looks like it's out of the 22nd century. And then they use phone calls, paper faxes, sometimes even couriers for delivering data from point A to point B. But yet we have Amazon drones, which are designed delivering Snickers in certain locations in the United States. So that's obviously a big problem. We took all of these different functions, whether it's a messaging, calendar, Google Drive, and we try to merge it all into one platform. So physicians, when they're on the go and they're busy, they don't have to click back and forth. They don't have time to go between different apps. They want to use one software for everything. And I'm just going to go really quickly here. This is, I'll play the video. I'm not sure if it's going to play. Anyway, so that video was going to show basically the referral process and how quickly a physician or a staff member can upload all documents or CDs to sending it from point A to point B. Ultimately, what we do is we come into a facility, we develop the software for ongoing updates based off of account needs or account maintenance. We build the network for them. So we're not just a software company that comes in and downloads the software to their computers and then we head out. We make sure that we build out their network and really are ongoing there in person. We have reps all across the country where we're at, and that sets us apart from any kind of competition. These are our goals for our partners. I'm not going to go into each one, but ultimately it's to make the staff happy, get the patient seen quicker, and make just collaboration better in the medical industry. This is a quick slide regarding where we're at and what kind of results we've had. So ultimately, we have an average of 71.5% collaboration growth. Basically, what that means is usage and messages, collaboration platform, and that's just combined statistics of all those different measurements there. So ultimately what we see is that after current use is that they still continue to use it and they continue to grow within their own platform. This is an article that was posted about us from advisory board. After adopting our platform, they saw a 20% growth in structural heart volumes over the last year because of how easier it became to communicate from external providers into their facility. I have a lot of slides here, but I just, for sake of time, I'll go back to these if there's questions. Ultimately, but this is what it looks like here as far as the collaboration page. Everything's tied together that a physician needs to have or a medical staff member needs to see. So you have your medical records and images on there as well. You can edit, add, or remove basically whoever you need in that certain referral. Make sure everyone's tied into the same page. A lot of times with the phone tag, it's like you get with the receptionist on the phone, but you need to make sure that the physician is seeing what you're talking to. Ultimately, if everyone's tied into the same communication platform, it makes it much more simple. So basically, expanding on what we do as a service, from a hospital in Birmingham, the physician and their team identified plenty of different sites across Alabama and expanding outside of Alabama to where they're receiving referrals from. We went out to all these places physically and converted them to a digital network. Instead of before, they might have been sending CDs via FedEx or paper faxes, but instead it was all looped into one platform, which is Vital Engine. No, this formatting got messed up. I apologize for that, but ultimately there's two columns on the slide, but this is our security details. I personally am not the HIPAA compliance or security officer, so some of this is still foreign language to me, but this goes over all the different sort of stats we have as how the data is backed up and how it's protected. And here's my contact information. If you know anyone or yourself has had a hard time receiving your own medical images, or you're given a CD, or you know someone in the medical industry who struggles with this, please let me know and I'd be happy to contact them and see if I can make their life a lot more efficient. So thank you guys for your time. Yes.
So in insurance industry, et cetera, right? That pretty much drives everything.
Right.
And there is a bewildering array of different types of, even within insurance carriers, of various different levels of service. So obviously one person who comes in or who's being addressed, or one patient who's being addressed by this system will have a different level of care or service than someone else. How do you compensate for that within the system?
As far as the kind of care they receive?
As far as, because obviously some people will say, oh, they can't see this specialist because it's not part of their network or whatever, or these people need to collaborate, or this is what they get charged, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if you're being the one-stop shop type of situation, then that's things that you have to finally deal with. Right. So have you thought about that, or are you more focused on instead of the patient, more focused on just the system by which the your client network is working?
Probably the latter, probably more of what the client is using as a collaboration platform. I personally haven't encountered what you're referring to, and based off my understanding, your situation would be as if hospital A or clinic A is referring to hospital B, and hospital B doesn't take that patient's insurance. What happens?
Right.
We haven't been very involved in that process. What I would assume what would happen is that, clinic A would say, oh, I'm sorry, let's refer you to, hospital B via Vital Engine, because they don't have to have Vital Engine to receive images, but they do have to have Vital Engine to receive documents. It's just the way the software is currently built.
So this is more of a communication-centric type of a system?
Yes.
Okay.
From a presentation point of view, I'm confused.
Okay.
Like, you had a lot of slides up there, a lot of things going this way and that way. I think for me personally, I walked away from here going, okay, I know you guys collaborate, but how? If you were to take an example of an individual, like say myself, say, hey, Steve's been to Dr. ABC and he's got he's been diagnosed with these problems, and then you trace me through the process for how Vital Engine works, to see how the collaboration is going to happen between my x-rays, between my blood work, between all of that,
Tell a
and
story.
took it all the way through to the end. And the doctors that were involved, I would have followed you a lot better, but it's just too much going on. And I was like, it didn't follow for me.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, that I did want to add, that did seem like a presentation for a medical audience. Like you're talking to the docs and the office managers about this is how we operate, and they're going to get all that. But like Steve was saying, if you can simplify it for us, you know, just a couple of icons, couple of arrows, that makes it for your 1 million cups audience, for your general audience, that's going to be easier to follow.
Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Yes.
How big is your sales force, and do you have the typical problem whereby nowadays most clinics and most doctors' offices are owned by hospitals? You go to the hospital, you go directly there, because I know that most doctors won't change anything unless it's demanded.
All right, there's some audio there. So the first question was, how many people in our sales force? It's 4 business development representatives and 6 account managers. And the second part of your question?
Nowadays, most clinics and most doctors' offices are owned by hospitals. Do you go to the hospitals or you go directly to them? Because I know most doctors won't change anything unless it's demanded of them.
Well, typically we like to make the connection with the physician first, because they're the ones that are going to be driving the collaboration forward. They're the ones that have a lot of influences in the hospitals. Typically that comes through just referrals that we get, is that we have a physician who's really happy with the product. They recommend it to another physician, and then we go from there. But definitely we need multiple people on board to approve it, whether it's the hospital administrator, physicians, IT, medical assistants. A lot of people are involved in that approval process. Far back.
I think it's a great subject. There's a complex thing. This is the future, but you need help from Josh to present it. Okay, you have the 30-second elevator pitch.
Keep up.
And 2 minutes and 6 minutes. Josh can help you a lot. You have a lot, a really great subject, great thing. This is the future. You have to please get that. The people that really understand it.
You're right, and that was a great point that was made about it being typically delivered to a medical audience, because this is the same presentation that I do use for the medical audience. So that is really fair feedback.
Even for medical audience.
Yes.
People have that. In 6.5 seconds, they make it. This is a, they want to listen to you.
Right.
You have to- half second. I didn't know about it. That's when it's out, all the speeds.
We got a question online from Ron.
Go ahead, Rod.
Okay, can somebody hear me okay?
Yes.
No,
Okay. My question is, why do you, or what was your intent of this presentation for here at 1 Million Cups?
Yeah, this is a good question. My intent is to share about an issue within the medical industry. There's a lot of backwards and more traditional communication that was first invented in the 1980s. That is,
I mean, I don't mean to cut you short here, but why did you come to 1 Million Cups to present? Was it to find leads? Was it to polish your presentation? What was the purpose of your presentation?
connect with people who need this service in the community,
Okay.
polish my presentation, get honest feedback.
Okay, so then what you need to do is you probably need to have 3 to 4 different presentations pre-built, both in PowerPoint or, you know, on Keynote or Google Slides, and have these presentations ready for any audience. And so, because the story that you tell a medical audience, like a lot of people have said, or the story that you tell someone just to bring the knowledge out there, they're very, very different. And so I would suggest taking the time to, especially in 1 Million Cups communities, the more that you present, you know, create a presentation specifically for that community, and create presentations specifically for your communities, because we don't know how to help you. And it's very hard for us to be able to give you proper feedback if you're just adapting a medical presentation. So they need to be pre-made.
Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it. Chris,
Can I
has the same-
jump in? So hey, thanks. First off, congratulations on your success so far. To have that many business development representatives in a team really is indicating a strong need. My wife is a psychiatrist, so I have an interesting, not interesting question, but I want to form a question for you and see if you can help me understand how it goes. Because I've been there. I've had doctors I've gone to and had to take the records with me, right, or re-get X-rays over and over again. How, as a patient who would want, the psychiatrist may be kind of weird because it's, there's really deep stuff they have to go through an intake. But let's say I'm dealing with a chiropractor or maybe an orthopedic surgeon for some stuff going on, or even dental work for that matter. How, as the customer, do I convince my next provider or even the provider I have, hey, get on board with this because I want to be able to digitally send this stuff across. I don't want to have to get a copy from you or deal with faxing and or emails or all that. How do I sell them as a customer who sees this in all different domains to get on board with your business? What can I do to advocate?
Thank you for the question, Chris. I think the most effective way to go about that would to just exactly what you just said. I mean, tell them that, hey, I know about this system that would maybe streamline this process and make it efficient on not just only me, but also a bunch of other future patients in the community. And I know a person who is here in the community that will visit you within the week and talk to you about this platform. And I'd be happy to educate them, meet with them, and see if we can line up some synergies there between us and their office and see if we can accelerate that.
And do you have like tiered pricing for small companies versus large hospitals?
Yes, we do.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
You've had your hand up for a while.
Got it. All right, thank you. So I get it. I sat in Orlando Health's whole system and I'm the youngest in there and they brought me in for innovation. It's a lot of information, but what I did is I was able to take video to show the importance, and all they were just trying to show is that the client and the wait time costs money and life. So if you can correlate the time frame of faxes and emails and to say, this is how much money is lost, and this is how much of a life or an emergency is lost. I don't know where you guys are at with first responders, but that's a good angle to throw in to say, hey, we need to know details of prior histories or whatever may happen. And when that's there to show it through video, 60-second video, 3-minute video, I think you'll have more of an impact. I am the medical audience that you talked about, and all I was just thinking was, what's the correlation of time saved? So I think that premise leading in will set the tone for, wow, we save time. It's billions of dollars in the medical industry. So that's kind of what I would look at as far as, from a premise of your presentation.
Thank you. I mean, I think that's really great feedback. I know there's been discussions internally regarding how to quantify that, right? Because we can definitely say, yeah, it's quicker,
Right.
But to give like, an on average time frame, that's, I think, difficult. We try to figure out, like an on average time, because it still is dependent upon, human staff to effectively use the software. Because maybe if they're bad at making phone calls, they might also be bad at using our product, I think, back right there.
First of all, thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Not to beat a dead horse, but a little less what, a little more why. And bring that narrative in, even in front of a medical audience, because there's a little known secret about doctors. They're humans also. I'm the first to say, I promise. But I have a question actually about about your business itself. It seems like a great idea. It's very needed. The question is, it doesn't seem very technically difficult to do what you're doing necessarily. Do you have IP? Do you have a secret sauce? How do you defend against someone just coming in and doing this? Because you really just, it seems like technically it's not terribly difficult as much as needed as it is. So.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that within my company. That might be better for our administrative or executive team to answer that question. But then it's a really good thought. I've thought of that myself as well.
Is there a UDP then, a unique value proposition that you offer? I'll just put it that way. Is there, what makes you different than anything else out there?
So what makes us different is that I personally haven't heard of or came across a software that both combines an image exchange and a collaboration platform in one. There's a lot of image exchange softwares out there, but it's just images and you can't communicate about it. You can't talk about it. And there's not additional features to loop in more participants. It's typically on requests even still. So it's like you have to call to request an image. As with this, you can send it directly to everyone you need at the same time. So it really simplifies that process as well. So I haven't seen a combination of both. There's been chat messages in hospitals, but not all of it all between. Yes.
It's a good presentation. Obviously, you're some doc. Is there a reason why the physician or hospital system would not adopt this?
Yes. So currently they might be using already an image exchange platform to send images, but the issues with some of those is that they have to convince another place to pay for this image software. What's really unique about our model is that we have a hub and spoke model, kind of like airlines. So the hub would pay for our service. We go out to all these different spokes and they have the ability to send images to the main facility for free. So that's basically how that works. I think it provides us a little bit of an advantage. But another one of the one of the other rebuttals I get is that they might have a really advanced EMR, which is an electronic medical record system, and that EMR might communicate really well with some other EMRs. But I have to see how many different places still send to them the old-fashioned way, whether it's CDs, paper faxes. Those are the ones that really benefit from our platform. The ones that are a little bit farther behind in technology usage. You go.
I would think that, I don't know how it's going to be, but I would think all hospitals are really concerned about money. And I think your first statement, time is money. How much time is this costing you right now? Let them figure out what the numbers are. You don't have to produce any numbers yourselves. They can see it themselves. And if you're going to save them a significant amount of time, that's a lot of money.
That's the value.
And they can figure that out. And that's your real value proposition in this. That's what you're doing. You're saving them time.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, you go.
So you had a slide up there that had, the average level of collaboration increase. And
Yes.
stuff. How are you measuring the increases in collaboration?
So that was a combined measurement of messages, referrals, or collaboration exchanges. Yeah, I think those are the two measurements I use. We're just VChat. It's called VChat and referrals.
So you have a baseline, which is where they're at before you installed it.
Yes, there's a baseline,
And
but
then
that data I showed was just based off our own platform usage from year to year growth. I can't show, unless they post it like in the article,
sure.
I can't give out internal data from the hospital.
Understood.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Josh made some really, really good points, and so have others when as far as your audience and who you're speaking to and doing those several different presentations like he mentioned to cater to a particular audience. There's a company called Talent that's doing a lot of what you do, but just on a much grander scale.
Okay.
Perhaps you all could partner with them because, their clients are like Levino and Domino's.
Okay.
They've done case studies and they'll take 85,000 locations of Domino's and sync them and do exactly what you're doing, but they're doing it for ordering pizza. So obviously it's a little different from the medical field, but it's very similar as far as trying to get like everybody on the same page and making it streamlined and making it easier. So perhaps that could be a great lead for you all.
No, thank you. I wrote it down. Talent.
Talent, Talend.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Talend.
I
Yeah.
wrote talent as in like.
No words.
So in a situation where you go to your general physician and they're all within the same network, like Advent Health is buying up everything, right? They're buying up all these doctor's offices. I go get my physical and then all of a sudden I need to go to a specialist and then they're like, oh, well, you need to send over your blood samples, right? If I want to go to outside Advent Health, and not only that, they don't even have, they're asking the patient to take care of that, right? So that's a real pain because everything should be transparent to everybody who's in that system, but it's not. If I need to go to, let's say, Shands or some other place, and I've got a doctor here who's a specialist, but he wants to collaborate with somebody else, do they need to be on the system in order to be collaborating? Does the person in Shands have to be on your platform, or can they organically collaborate?
Are you saying like, would they have to have our platform to collaborate better or collaborate at all?
Well, this
or-
guy's at Advent Health, this
Okay.
guy's at Shands, and they know each other and they work together and they do procedures together and they want to share information. Got here is on your platform, Shands is not,
Okay,
they can't collaborate at that point, correct?
but ultimately Advent Health is a place performing a procedure or performing whatever kind of final service, right?
Maybe not, maybe
Okay.
I go to Shands.
That's an interesting point because with our the way it works is that in order to receive collaboration, that's the paid service. Sending out is free. So I would have to kind of know where the end, procedure is going to be performed or the end service is going to be had. But as far as, there's a website application, so it's very simple to use for sending outwards. But in order to receive that referral, that is a paid service.
Okay.
I hope that kind of answered your question. So, yes.
So this is related to EHR, EMR, right? So the data, where it is residing, is it within your server or with where the data is?
Yes. So it's hosted in a, let me go to that slide. Oops.
I saw AWS servers over there. That's the question here. So it's residing, the data is stored in your server
Yes,
or it is? Okay.
it's hosted in the Amazon cloud-based web services and
So there is a thing called, when I was in a blockchain expo a couple of years back, probably 3 years back. So there was a company who was working on a concept called data will reside, because the question is, as a patient, why my record should be with someone else? I should want the data as a patient, right? Why you or any hospitals or why they should want my data, right?
yes.
So it's called decentralized concept. So they call something called KYP, like as in KYC in the banking industry, know your patient. So when I go to a hospital, I should have the control of my data and then say, hey, I transfer data to you. I own the data on my device, right? It's called it's a blockchain-based concept, and the team, I forgot the company name. They were working on like 3 years back on this kind of a decentralized owning the data. You can actually do some digging around that and then see if that's, because you do have a good hold of having a lot of clients and you're not like really starting up, you already have established. So you can see if that's something which your patients or users would be interested in. If so, you can actually trial that out.
Okay, I think I got you there. As far as patients also having the access to, is that what you're?
It's not patients also. It's patients should own the data. Hospitals should have access based on the consent from the patient.
In other words, I got my own data. I want to give it to my doctor. I want to give it to this guy instead of the hospitals owning it. We own it. It's on our device.
Right,
Right,
That's awesome.
absolutely. We
Great
do
idea.
have a patient app, but it's still in heavy development. That part is not as developed as the collaboration function, but if used appropriately, and the staff creates a patient account for you, all your images would be on there. And I'm not sure if the share function was unlocked yet with our patient app yet. I have to get back to you on that one.
I'm gonna take pose a question from a different perspective. You know, when we talk about having a presentation for different audiences, do you have as far as the company and the business model and where you're going with it, are you looking for investors to grow the company? Are you looking for any kind of an exit strategy? Is there a plan for somebody to, a larger group to purchase this and incorporate it into a larger system, or are you looking to become the larger system? So I'm curious about the business itself, not the operational stuff, but where are you looking to take the business?
Right. So I'm not part of the executive team, so I don't know if I'm at liberty to say, but I would say those are all things that I've heard and we were probably considering. So it's probably the best I can answer that question.
So I will take the last question. You might have heard this in Cal. What can we as a community do for you?
Well, as a community, again, like I said, if you know any healthcare professional that gets really annoyed with getting CDs, handling paper faxes, playing a lot of phone tag, that's just frustrated at work, or you yourself as a patient can't view your own images, or you get handed a CD to bring from point A to point B, let me know and I will go out to that facility and see if we can help them out. So thank you guys very much for your time.
Business card.
I do some work for Purdue University in Indiana, where I'm originally from. And so Purdue is like the engineering school. It's the technology school of Indiana, right? And the department I was working with said, hey, we've got this form. Can you fax it to us? And I said, I can't because of where I live. And they said, where's that? And I said, the 21st century.
That's hilarious.
So what I did do is just I filled out the form online or electronically and then just sent it to them by email. But I'm surprised people are still faxing.
Yes, unfortunately, right?
I mean,
It's definitely a different century.
yeah, and you ever get those people who say, well, just print this form out, sign it, scan it, and send it back to us. It's like, no, I use DocuSign. I sign it online. Yeah, page me when the fax reaches you.
Are we gonna do an dance now?
Something kind of like that. So since we don't have a second speaker today, I wanted to do sort of an announcements section. I know Michael's got something, but also kind of a good news. So so after Michael, either announce something you've got going on, like an event that you're a part of, or you want to invite people to, or you'd like people to know about, or something good. What's some good news that has happened to you in the last couple of weeks, few weeks? Could be personal, could be business, but I'll leave it up to you. But Michael, you got an event.
Yeah, so on September 21st, at our downtown incubator, we're gonna host our first FinTech meetup. So if you're in the financial services industry or starting up a FinTech company, we invite you to work. You just want to learn more about different types of financial technology resources and services are out there. I invite you to attend. It's from 6 p.m. to 7:30. Yes, September 21st. Get out there.
All right, great. Dan.
And following that announcement, also on September 21st at 11 o'clock in the morning, right here, I'll be teaching business ethics. It's the first, it's really like a one-time class, 90 minutes. It's free, and it'll be basing what business ethics today should be on ancient philosophy, from the Stoics, from the Buddhists, from the Taoists. So it's taking a lot of different philosophy and modernizing it. Want to find that? It's the event posted at Orlando Stoics. So you can find this easily by just Googling. See the page on Meetup for the business ethics event.
Not going is unedited.
Yeah. For those of you who weren't here, Dan, Stoic Dan, runs the Orlando Stoic Philosophy discussion groups. More than one, right? Seven. Runs 7 groups. So this is the guy to teach us about business ethics from the Stoic perspective. Yes.
All right, so I'll be part of a panel discussion and a speaker with Dr. Roz's Soul Care Summit this Sunday. You can find more information. I would say either go to my Instagram because she's tagged me there, get Rachel Ray, or you can go to the Biddy link. It's like the Biddy link, and it's Dr. Roz CSC. So that information is there. My Instagram is Get Rachel Ray. Yeah. GTRACHELRAY.
All right. Steve and then Denny.
Our juggling friend Bill is in the hospital today, having a couple procedures. So I wanted to let you guys know that he's here in spirit, but he's in the hospital having some procedures done. He'll probably be out for the next 3 weeks. So just keep them in your thoughts.
All right, let us know what we're thinking about him. Denny.
Yeah, we have a couple of things. Alan Schaefer is one of our members. The new train. The other thing I want to announce that on Saturday, September 24th, gonna start at 4:30 for food, first deal. Drive, which happens to be the club for governor this year. It's $100 in play. It's a great deal of fun. It's for a good cause. And it leads to a championship where the prize is gonna be $7.5.
Pamela.
Hi, I'm actually hosting for Halloween. It's called Face Your Fears Through the Arts. So we're having some local singer-songwriters in Orlando who are all going to perform on the theme of facing fears or overcoming obstacles. It's going to be on October 27th at 8 p.m. It's in Mills 50 District in downtown Orlando. It's at a live music dive called Grumpy's Underground. So the organization is called Right to Be Seen. Spelled out for Instagram, Facebook, or the .org. It's WRITETOVESCENE.org. But I have tickets to our copy with me if anyone wants to talk about it.
All right, great,
The
awesome.
place to find it again is where? Right to be seen?
Yeah, the company name Right to Be Seen. The webpage is righttobeseen.org/faceyour.
All right, BJ.
Yeah, the spot witness team, which I am part of, we launched the app last Friday, and it was a great success. We had around 250 people done around, close to 250 people done around the large event, and the app was launched, and we do have people adopting the app, and there were lots of positive feedback about the app. That's something which happened.
And what's the app? Is this the one from the?
Yeah.
From the Adam presented a couple of weeks back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Spot Fitness.
Oh, okay, great. Sure.
I actually found him in gym yesterday through the app.
Oh, that's cool.
Excellent. Steve.
I have an ask and an announcement. I have secured manufacturing here in Lakeland for my product. Can help me get pricing down low. The only challenge is that I put the cart before the horse several months ago, and I put my aluminum in a basket for which they're not going to be able to do the manufacturing. So I'm seeking a means to get 2,000 pounds of aluminum out of one shop to get it to Lakeland. So if anybody's got a 20-foot trailer or something that will help me, help get that stuff over to Lakeland, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm willing to pay.
Where's it at right now?
LB McLeod and John Young Parkway.
And at a U-Haul, $39.99.
No,
No,
I just can't-
no.
no, not for that kind of money. 24-foot long.
U-Haul is 26 foot.
I looked this morning, they're not that cheap.
I'm renting one.
So if anybody's got ways to give me a, pardon?
You have to be mileage too, which is a problem with people.
They were, well, I went on Home Depot, I went on Hertz, I went on Penske. They don't charge for mileage. It's unlimited mileage. It's only a day. I mean, I'll get it over here and get it back in the same day, so.
Steve, let me see what I can do.
What about a flatbed tow truck?
Yeah, he needs a flatbed.
Whatever.
Like-
I mean, I'm all ears. I'm just a guy trying to figure out a problem.
Yeah, the tow company's charging
I might have.
All right. Anyone else? No. You've got 11 minutes. Anybody know any jokes?
I was gonna say,
I only know mom jokes.
Ah,
Caden is still here, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. With the Vital Engine, there was something else I was thinking about. You have a position with the company,
Yes.
and your goal is it community engagement? Is it more clients? Like, what?
My goal is to make our current accounts happy, which are in Ocala, Tallahassee, and Macon, Georgia. But also grow new business as well.
You got your travel.
I do, but Macon, Georgia isn't that exciting.
They have a baseball team, which the season doesn't soon, but the Macon Bacon.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Maybe I'll catch a game or something to make it.
I would go just for that if it were me. It's like, oh, look, home game. I have to go to Macon.
Yeah, I could.
Oh, no, my apologies. You didn't finish. Were you at the AMA a couple weeks ago here in Orlando? So there was a conference, the American Medical Association was at the convention center just a month ago, I think.
I think
There's
I
a lot of
looked
vendors
into
out there.
that, but pricing was a little out of our company's budget to be a vendor at that. So I hung around for a day, met people, but nothing crazy. I was there, I think, for like, I think we're talking about the same thing, but.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was wondering, because a lot of those events, I mean, obviously they're doctors and they go to different things, but, you know.
Absolutely.
That brings up a good point. When you talk to different medical associations, that might be a real good opportunity.
So the specialty.
As far as like what
Or
regard?
just to introduce your product, see who's there, and be interested.
So you have the AMA, which is the big general one, but then there's specialty organizations. The internalists may have their own, you know, each specialty. So if you look back over, let's say your last 5 or 10 clients that came aboard, maybe they all happen to be OBGYNs. You go to the OBGYN Association, see about being a sponsor there, because you picked up the last 3 to 5, 10 clients, happen to all be OBGYN, something like that.
And
So
on
you
that
kind
note, are you getting video testimonials from these clients that you can then use as marketing? And to get people in the same industry to say, oh, these guys know this,
Mhm.
they know me.
I think that's a great idea. We don't have any video testimonials on our website.
Have you asked?
I have not personally asked. Sometimes an issue is that, you know, if one hospital is in very close proximity to one of our physician sponsors, they want their hospital to be the one that is really benefiting from the platform. So sometimes we can ask another physician in another state because, you know, it's a lot of far away. But that's a conflict I've run into before, as far as it being really close proximity and using them as a support. Yeah, you know.
And also maybe another easy way to just to continue to develop, because you showed the nodes and you showed how it expands out. So again, they'll tell you the problem children, you know, they'll tell you, you know, this doctor's office is still sending us, you know, the stuff via courier or what have you. So there's probably an internal referral system that could really benefit from, you know.
Right, and use FOMO too, because if you're getting this amazing technology, you're like, hey, I'm just letting you know this exists, so you're not the last one to find out. Because all your competitors, all these other doctors and hospitals are already gonna be using this, and you're gonna be the last one.
Right.
So again, it's that nobody wants to be the last.
What about referral program, you know, I mean, obviously, the patients that benefit from this. Right. But I mean, but I would like have some sort of an incentive in there.
They need money to
For the patients, so like what? Like,
maybe the patient.
Yeah, the patients, yeah.
Now, if you do give the patient some money or some coffee or.
Yeah,
I
something,
gift card.
understand that because there's a lot of kickback and HIPAA related laws
Right,
that
understood.
are very sticky. I gotta make sure that it's legal, but
Right.
it's a cool idea. You know?
Kidney replacement.
Keep in mind, there's medical associations in every county.
Yeah.
So when you say like I should go out to these places, like who do you think I should reach out to?
I know who directed it. Just talk to them and say, I know you-
Chambers
So you reverse engineering,
of each county,
Okay,
and they are like a bunch of chambers in each county.
okay, and the chambers typically are, you know, partnered with the medical associations in their cities.
Oh, yes.
Make it
You don't have to go,
Okay,
because you can find everyone. It's pretty easy to do. Just tell them who you are and what you're trying to do. They might even let you present for free. The reason why, because they'll get together occasionally.
The other
What
thing
do you
you could
recommend is
try,
like-
oh, I'm sorry,
I was gonna say, what do you recommend is the best, you know, way to reach out to them? Phone call, email?
Phone call.
Yeah, phone call.
Parachute.
so the thing that I would try, and this is the hook to get into all these different groups, is can you solve a problem for the industry that is not your solution, but might involve your solution? So for example, you know, I'm a ghost blogger. I write blog articles for companies. And the solution I solve for them is, here's how you do content marketing in the 21st century, or here's how you generate more leads with your website, or here's how you improve your search ranking. It's always going to be about blogging. Whatever the presentation, the problem is, the solution is always going to be blogging, and they're always going to be asking themselves, well, why does this guy know so much? And at the very end, I will say, I know all this because I'm a ghost blogger, or I say that at the very beginning. And then when they say, this is something we need to do, but we don't know how to do this, but that guy who told us how to do it clearly knows what he's doing. And I get leads just by giving presentations to solve a problem. And I never go in and say, hey, I want to pitch my company to you. They don't want that. But hey, I can solve this problem for you. If you can give those kinds of presentations at these different conferences, at these different chapter meetings, they'll invite you to talk about it. And it just so happens to be, this is a problem we happen to solve. This is why I know all this stuff. And they go, oh, we should talk more.
Yeah, that's a great idea. My only thing when I'm thinking about when I'm reaching out to these associations and I get the receptionist. How do I get past the gatekeeper with those different facilities,
Yeah,
right?
gatekeeper's always gonna be a problem. I
LinkedIn.
would say that we've got a solution that will save many doctors. We can save them time. Just want to talk to somebody about it. I think you've got a better chance of getting a gatekeeper to do that. You just can't say I've got products for you. And everything's-
Right. Actually, what you're offering them is the opportunity to make more money and less.
Yes,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
they're
be careful how I word that.
Understood.
Yeah.
Number one thing was sales.
Right.
That's what. He has a good idea, you know, have a. That's what it's not, I didn't know that.
It's the value. I mean, you're doing all three. You're saving them time, you're saving them money, and you're making their life easier. Right.
And you can't say, I can't do that, I tried it, no. I've been creating all the. Great ideas. It's not your presentation, it's not this idea. Process help. Everything is in the presentation, first 6.5 minutes, 6.5 seconds. But you lost that. Water, no, that's true. We were both wondering, mine good.
And get them first, next second.
Right, and it's not gonna be what, it's not gonna be information, it's gonna be.
And then as a biomedical engineer, that's who your CEO, you said is?
He's more of a backseat role now, but he was the founder.
Oh, okay. Cause that's what I may be pursuing my PhD and I haven't figured that out just yet. But those in the biomedical field, I mean, you got Dr. Davidson Clear with Harvard. You've got a lot of people who's doing a lot of great things and they're going outside of the regular mainstream medical healthcare system. They call that the sick care system now. And then they're creating the new healthcare system. So you partner with a lot of progressive companies that are moving forward and doing a lot of progressive things. And then you, again, you're the sponsor, you're the solution. So as some of these doctors' offices are for the old way and they come to the new way, you're just, you're already a part of it. It's like Google. When Google presented themselves and set themselves up, they just knew they were going to be the future. They started out as a search engine, but now look where they are.
I'd like to add too, though, that the clearest path to profitability is like, you know, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? It's a straight line. And so, you know, I would focus on one target market, right? And just get into that market and really service that market. And then let the other markets see, like, crap, man, these guys are making a lot more money in less time just by increasing their communications, right? So, you know, I helped a woman who created a system that basically you go through their 9-month thing, and then literally immediately your revenues jump to 30% for a doctor's office. Yeah. But she's stuck with like OBGYNs, right? But now she's doing cardiac, focused on that one thing. So just that one.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point, and I'm pretty excited about what could possibly happen. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Is right, we're trying to get in big with one hospital corporation nationwide and kind of like have that be a trickle effect. And we've had some conversations which have been really exciting recently. But I, can't really say anything until something publicly came out. But hopefully, that follows through. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say. But I think that exact thing will happen.
Right.
Once it's recognized by someone, a really reputable company in the industry on a large scale, you'll see it really trickle out throughout other places.
Okay, I can make some introductions.
All right, great. Well, we're out of time. Caden, yes, Josh.
I just learned that the first French fries were not cooked in France. They were cooked in Greece. Maybe.
So Caden, you got an extra 10 minutes of feedback from people, and I bet Ocala didn't do that for you. So
Ocala did not do that for me.
We'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
So,
if I'm ever in Orlando doing stuff, Vital Engine, I will definitely stop by on a Wednesday.
Excellent. Please do. All right, so next week, we are working on our new speakers. I think Jacinta, no, it was Rachel. Rachel just got on the list, so Rachel will be speaking next week.
Finishing my presentation, my application to apply right now.
And we do have one more slot. If anybody just wants to get on the list and speak as well, just talk to Josh. Once you sign up on the website, he will, and this is true for anybody, he will coach you, give you some guidance on your slides and give you a few pointers on giving the presentation. So we would love to hear from you. If you are on Zoom, you can download the chat right now, but if you want a copy of it, just email me at eric.deckers@gmail.com. That's ERIK. And I will send you a copy of the chat. Connect with somebody that you met here today. This is the way serendipity happens. You reach out to somebody who sort of has a connection, and even if you can't do anything for them immediately, it's somebody that you meet 6 months from now. You're going to remember the person you met today and say, I can make a connection for you.
It works, trust me.
I've built my entire career that way. And then finally, join us on meetup.com. If you're not already there, 1 Million Cops Orlando on meetup.com. And this is where we post our meeting announcements. We're also on Facebook, so you get our updates and videos and things like that. So thank you very much, and we will see you all in 7 days.